What is up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mug. Here we have a finished Mistress Araki from RTLW Miniatures. She's in resin, all painted up. She looks absolutely fantastic. I love the color choice that I went with, the green and the gold, contrasting the pale, sickly color of her skin and the bright red of her hair. This is such a beautiful model. I'm so glad I got to paint it up, and I can't believe it's so cheap. It's like only 20 bucks for this miniature. If you click the link down below in the description, it's going to take you to the RTLW store where you can check it out for yourself. There's different ways that you can build her up. You don't have to have her holding a sickle and a severed head. I think there are some, like a pistol option as well as like a rifle option, and you don't have to have her holding the head. I think there's a left hand where she's holding a knife or some other kind of weapon. Anyways, I love the weird little appendages she's got at the back, where one of them is like a little metal grabber finger and the other one is like where the pointer finger should be. It's like a syringe. I filled that up with some bright green goopy drugs just because it needed a little bit of color. You can't see it from these pictures, but when you look at it from above, overhead, and you see that flash of bright green, it really contrasts everything else going on in the model, and it adds a nice little cherry on top. I love her face, her expression, terrific. I didn't want to go too bright. You're going to see with the painting of her eyeballs that I did have a difficult time. I'm only human, guys. I'm not a robot. I'm not a painting machine. So you get to be there for all the ups and downs. I love the griminess of her art, her little tentacles too. It looks great. I'm so pleased with this model. Thank you so much to my patrons, Mr. Sprinkle, Dicey Guy, Play It Painted, Pix, Land of Mert, Mr. Secondaries, and brand new supporter of the channel, Jealous. Thank you for supporting me and helping me to continue doing what I love, which is to make videos. And we're going to be kicking off the summertime painting challenge, Warboss Tay's 2024 Summer Painting Challenge. Head over to the Discord for all the details. Got an oath of moment, 31 daily questions, all of the great stuff. So here we go. This is right after the washes have dried. I'm going to be attacking now the eyeballs. I wanted to do the eyeballs first. So you might remember we blacked them out with a little bit of black paint. In this one, you really need a fine tipped brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link below in the description to some cheap Amazon brushes. I think they're great because for only less than 20 bucks, you get a number of brushes where the ones I got especially were mostly really fine tipped and very small and very precise, and as long as you maintain them and take care of them, they should last you a while. So here you can see how finely, this is like insane detail from Army Painter brushes level, and I'm able to dot these eyes pretty well. Guys, there's no secret to this. It's just repetition is your best friend. If you find it frustrating that your eyeballs are looking all googly and all over the place, remember, you want to go thin. Thinner is better when you're doing eyeballs. So horizontal slashes of black, then inside that black, a horizontal slash of white. The more diagonal you can make it so it's not going straight horizontal, the better. You want it to kind of have a little bit of an angle, because most eyes, I've noticed in these miniatures, most eyeballs get sculpted where the character is frowning or scowling. So their eyebrows are pulled down in the center, and that means that their eyeballs are going up toward the outer edges. So you're actually going to be attacking each eyeball you paint with a little bit of a diagonal direction. And when you're done painting that white horizontal slash, you just go back in with another vertical slash of black paint. And this is where you really need your paintbrush to be as thin and finely tipped as possible. You really want to get that tip as sharp as you can make it, so you can just very gently paint that vertical slash on each eyeball. And as you can see, this is the thing that takes the most time of this tutorial, because in the real world, I can't just jump to the next section like any other YouTuber would say, okay, then you just paint the eyeballs like this and then jump ahead to the finished product after a lot of cleaning. I'm showing you in real time. I'm squinting my eyes just like you are, painting these eyes, realizing they're not going the way that I want them to, and having to clean them up. So when you make mistakes and you have to jump back to the step before, just remember it's a 3-step process. The black of the eyes, completely black, and then white inside the black. You don't want to overpaint the black so that you just have white. Otherwise, your guys are look like they have like bulging eyeballs. And then within that white, within the black, a slash right down the center for the pupils. And I'm going back and forth, trying to get the correct angles on everything. And I think at a couple points in this video, I realized when I actually hold the model up or zoom in enough with my iPhone, I realized that it looks completely janky and not at all how I want it to look. So the perfectionist that I am, I go back and fix it. But you don't have to. If you're happy just having your guys look like they're scowling, then just do the black slash. Don't even worry about the white and painting the pupil. More times than not, if you do a very, very slight black lining inside where the eyes are, then it will read like they're scowling, like they have their eyelids, what's like furrowed, their eyebrows furrowed, and they're scowling and they're making an angry face. You don't have to do white. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking a break from the eyeballs, and I've noticed that I've got some black and some white on the cheeks. It's a little too anime for me, so I'm going in with some rack art flesh, and I'm tightening up the bottom and the top of each eyeball while I'm cleaning up the face. This is the secret. This is the hint. A lot of painters don't do this. They just try to paint the eyeball, and for better or for worse, they leave it after they painted that last vertical slash. But what you want to do is clean up the cheek, right above the cheekbone, right under, like kind of where their baggy eyes would be, the bags of their eyes would be. Just do a little bit of a cleanup with the skin tone, in this case rack art flesh, and tighten up that diagonal eye. If this were an ogre, it would be a lot easier to see what I'm doing. But because I'm working with a very finely detailed resin figure, the eye is a little bit more difficult to see. That's kind of why I didn't want to go too heavy with any kind of makeup. If this were like an Eldar or a high elf, wizard, sorceress, then I might want to add a little bit of blue eyeshadow to make her look more mystical, or some red lips. But I really want it to look as bloodless as possible. So no color on the lips. Again, the skin tone I went for is a mixture of Raikling Flesh Shade and Drakenhof Nightshade, if you didn't check out video number 1. And if you didn't, then you should, because it really lays down all of the colors that I'm working with here. But you can see she doesn't need makeup. She's naturally beautiful. Hashtag no filter. We're gonna be just cleaning her up, tightening up the colors. Because the wash does so much work for our figure, we are only really picking out some details that we want to be noticeable from across the table, like the skin, the brightness of the tentacles, the metal on the tentacles, the silver, and the really pale, creepy looking appendages. Like, we're not going and highlighting the trim of her armor. We're just going to be adding a little bit of color to the armor plates. And everything is mainly, here we go, more rack art flesh. Everything is mainly just tightening up and bringing out the natural beauty of this miniature. If you're painting stretched out skin, bloodless skin like this here, or for like vampires, I like to do short strokes at a little bit of a diagonal when I'm working on especially long limbs like arms. Doing like short strokes at a diagonal will give your skin a look like it's stretched parchment over the bone, and that's a beautiful look for creepy looking miniatures. Hey, if you're new to my channel, or if you've been not been seeing my videos for a while, welcome. I'm Warboss Tay. I just had twins. I'm trying to get back into the swing of painting miniatures and filming them on YouTube. Mostly I paint Warhammer 40K stuff, but I do like to branch out, especially with these RTLW miniatures, because I find not too many people know about them. And I think if I were a young hobbyist collecting a Drukhari army, I would definitely want something a little bit weird and wacky for my homunculus. When you look at the Games Workshop homunculus, they're not too great. Like Urian Rakarth was a pretty cool looking miniature. All of the homunculus that have come out before or since are not that great looking. Here we go, we got some Sybarite green. I'm doing some spooky green glowing effects on the armor plates. Remember, we started with Dark Angel's green. We washed it with known oil, and we did the trim in that Necro Gold from Scale Color 75. So I'm not going to be building up that Dark Angel's green color. I'm leaving it shaded black with the known oil, and I'm doing a very light mottling effect with my brush here. Because the plates are so small, I'm not going to be highlighting them like I normally would highlight Dark Eldar or Drukhari armor plates with the Kabalite green and then the Sybarite green. I'm just going straight for the Sybarite green at the center where the light would catch on the armor plate, like the flat area of the armor plate, and creating a ghostly green glowing effect. I think that's more effective than trying to do any kind of very sharp highlighting. If I did like lines like my other Drukhari almost look like Tron, where the sharpness of the armor plates is really picked out in the highlights, you just would lose it in this miniature. The model is covered in armor plates that are just too small to effectively pick out in that way. So I changed my technique from sharp highlighting to just modeling that green. Now I'm going to be adding some fresh blood. So I found this from Green Stuff World. Blood for the Blood God works fine as well. And my old faithful favorite, Tamiya Clear Red, is what I used to use. It's just fantastic color, dries glossy, dark red, with almost like a spectrum of red. If that old Tamiya Clear Red stuff is so great compared to this Green Stuff World Fresh Blood effect is not that great. Clear Red from Tamiya, it dries with, the more you use, the darker it's going to dry, like coagulated blood. Just terrific stuff. And I did add it on the bottom of that severed head, obviously, on the blade. And I think that's all for this miniature. There are some other miniatures that I added some of that fresh blood effect to, but this one, just a couple of spots. Runefang Steel is my favorite color to dry brush onto dirty, weathered, corroded metal, iron, steel, silver. Using my fine dry brush here. This was also included in that pack that I'm gonna link to in the description. They only have one dry brush in it, but that's okay. It is still just totally fine. And when you are dry brushing Runefang Steel over silver, especially lead belcher that's been shaded with Agrax Earthshade and known oil, it's going to create this terrific greasy, like machine grease, grimy look with the picked out silver color that's just going to catch the light perfectly. And you're going to see a variation from the super bright Runefang Steel highlight all the way to the in between each of those joints. You're going to see that dirty, grimy brown black. At this point in the video, I want to say, guys, anytime you find yourself losing motivation and finding that you don't have the will to see a model through to its completion, do me a favor, before you chuck it in the drawer and lose sight of it, put it on your table or on a shelf in front of you. Just look at it for about a week. Let it sit there so that you can see it, because I've often found that if it's out of sight, it really is out of your mind. You don't think about it, you don't think about finishing it. And I was so set on finishing this for you guys. It's my first multi-part tutorial in months. I really wanted to do it. And I wanted to get to this part of the tutorial. I used some of this Geek Gaming Scenics. You remember Luke from APS Gaming. He did a bunch of scenery videos on YouTube. Great guy, amazing products. I bought a big tub of his glue and this base ready Grimdark. I bought a couple bags of this base ready material, and let me tell you, it is like hands down the best thing that I have ever found for basing. I've seen and read so many videos on how to do basing and how to paint everything meticulously. And at the end of the day, guys, I'm over 40 years old now. I don't have time to be painting and dry brushing and washing my bases. I have time to slap some glue on it, on the base of my miniatures, dunk it into this base material, which really should be in like a Tupperware. I gotta find some Tupperwares to throw these in because right now they're just in open bags. And then like, look at that. Look at how beautiful that looks. There's got a little bit of sparkle to it. It's got different size of little grit and dirt, and it just looks like a perfect alien world. I've got some, you might have seen my ogre tyrant. He's like scrublands, which is like rocks and pebbles with a little bit of flocking and some green sponge to imitate like shrubbery. There are a bunch of different kinds of base ready materials that Gaming Scenics, Geek Gaming, like I don't remember the name of the company off the top of my head, but definitely check it out. I don't have any affiliate links for it, but you could find it. I bought mine on eBay. Of course, if you just look up, Google Luke APS scenery base ready, you're gonna find it, and it has revolutionized my basing. Last thing I do for every miniature is put some black paint on the trim, and then I realized, oh, I didn't even touch the syringes up here. I gotta get some creepy green glowing drugs in there. I love painting the base, the rim of the base black at the end of every model. I really think that's a good way for me to summarize my work. It's like my signature. You know, when artists sign their painting, I think if you save that for the last thing, then you can just set it aside, and that's your way of telling your brain we're finished with this miniature. Of course, I have to go back because I missed the syringe. So before I even paint the moot green, I want to give the syringe the effect of it being like a glass. So I'm gonna start actually with some Thunderhawk blue. If you've got vials, glass potions, syringes, of course, obviously, then Thunderhawk blue makes a great base. If you want to go even darker and highlight up to that Thunderhawk blue, then go with Dark Reaper, because that's going to create a beautiful bluish gray. Oh boy, I got a cough. It's going to create a great bluish gray look that's going to imitate glass and give the person who's looking at it the perspective of glass. I couldn't find my Dark Reaper around me, so I decided just to go with straight Thunderhawk blue. Of course, if you do Thunderhawk blue, shade it down with some known oil, that might also work as well. To really give your syringes or your glass vials the appearance of glass, after you're done painting everything, you would go back with some gloss varnish, just hand paint that on so you only get it on the glass area. And it's going to create a beautiful, like, reflective look. And here, as you can see, some Thunderhawk blue just on the syringe makes it look just like glass. It's totally fine. You don't need that Dark Reaper, especially if you're doing only a small amount like this. If I was doing something with a huge amount of glass, then I would want that depth of having the Dark Reaper transition up to a Thunderhawk blue. But right now, nobody's going to be looking at these syringes for more than a second and go, ew, ew, ew. So that's all I'm really going for. Then here we go, a little bit more creepy, dry parchment skin. Oh, nasty. Rakarth flesh. Ugh. Ugh. I'm looking at that red hair, and reminds me of when the lady boss and I went to San Francisco, and a lot of interesting people with strange hair colors. All right, that moot green, look how that kicks off against the silver, the pale skin, even the blue of the Thunderhawk blue. That moot green just really pops out and says hello, and it creates like a beautiful pop of color. Of course, the interesting thing about that moot green is you see that pop of color if you're looking at the model from above. Like I mentioned earlier, if you look at this model straight on, like I paint these tutorials, it's almost hidden because the syringes are like held at a horizontal angle above the model's head. And here we go, guys and gals. I've finished Mistress Araki. Such a great feeling to finish a miniature. man, I have so many miniatures I've started and just kind of abandoned. So always see your miniatures through to completion if you can help it. And here is some glamour shots of the miniature itself, so you can see really some detail. Like I said, the eyes aren't 100% perfect, Golden Demon winning, but really when you're looking at the model from the tabletop away, you can see where the eyes are, you can see where the pupils are, you can see where she's looking. That's all that matters to me. If you wanted to go a little bit more overboard and gruesome with a severed head, you could add some effects like the oohoo glue I've seen for making stringy gore. You could also do that with the weapon she's holding, add some stringy gore effects to that, but I don't think she needs it. I think she looks great. I can't wait to put her up on eBay. Hopefully somebody out there is going to be willing to give her a little home where she can spend the rest of her existence just experimenting and being creepy. I love this miniature, guys. Again, link below in the description. It's going to take you to the RTLW website where you can check it out for yourself. My painting really doesn't do it justice. If you see the miniature in the pieces and like how it's supposed to look, all cleaned up, all assembled together, it really is very impressive. So check it out and hopefully pick one up for yourself or for a Drukhari player near you, and I'm sure they will appreciate it because it's such a beautiful miniature. Again, I did cover up her lady bits, her ample bosom, which you can see in the front, and yeah, just a beautiful figure. And like, look at this, I still can't believe that you can pick her up for only, what is it, $16.99? I thought it was $19. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to buy another one right now. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video. Head on over to the Discord where we're gonna be starting our summer painting challenge. See you there.